Good morning everyone, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about pliers. Which one do you want to use, which one you use, which one I use, and what are the best? What do you think? For me, kind of classify pliers in 3 different categories. You can get like really fancy expensive one, you have the mid-range one, and you have the really cheap and inexpensive ones, and sometimes it can really surprise you. It's really, for pliers, I think it's not because they are more money and are much more expensive that they are working better or doing a better job than the cheap ones. So something to be aware of. Now, pliers, there is basically 3 to 4 criteria that I request in a good pair of pliers. The main one is the grip. How strong is the grip? We use big, thick hooks, and we need power to take them out, especially out of a big fish. It's not like a size 8 in a roach mouth. We need to get this hook usually in a tricky situation, so you want a really good grip in your pair of pliers. Now the other thing as well, pike, they can swallow lures, they can get lures, they can inhale lures or flies. So the next thing you want to find is reach. You want something that's going to get way down there without having any problem, or without scraping your knuckles to complete mince by putting your hand inside the mouth of the pike. And I'm pretty sure quite a few of you have done that in the past. Now, the other thing after is reliability. How good is the plier? Is it going to last? Is it going to rust in 2 weeks? How long are they going to last? So that's another thing you want to take in consideration. Is the build any good for the money you pay? And then, of course, big thing, the price. Are you going to spend a crap load of money on the plier, or are you just going to go for the really cheap and cheerful, and when it's broke you change? Which is, I don't think, is the ideal solution. And then after, you have aesthetics. If it's something that matters to you, if you're a big tackle tart or a big gear slut, maybe aesthetics is important. If you want something fancy onto your waist, like a cowboy with his gun, something shiny, that's totally up to you. But let's talk about the 3 types that we have. We have the really, what I call the DIY one, the simple, basically hardware store pliers. Most of them, you recognize them from many brands. Basically, they just put a different color on the handle, put their brands on it, and it's a fishing pliers all of a sudden. Now, those ones are pretty good. There is some with long nose. They give you a decent grip coverage at the front, especially on the long nose pliers, because sometimes that's the problem. The longer the nose gets, the thinner the nose and the less pressure you can get. Now, those ones are pretty good. You can find, I think, between how good they are for the price that they are, I think it's the perfect balance to start and even to keep as a pair of pliers. They go a long way. They're very solid. A little bit of WD-40 once in a while on it. Don't leave them in the bag wet, and that's it. Basically, very basic things. Now, after, you have what I would call the kind of the mid-range one that they become very popular, the kind of aluminium machinized one. These ones are quite nice, but I think they're more intended for like the kind of fly fishing, saltwater type of guy. For pike, they look good, but I don't think they're worth it. I mean, I've owned all sorts of pliers. I'm not going to say I own hundreds over the years, but like dozens and dozens, definitely. I had so many pliers went through my hands, and like I always come back to the same one year after year. Sometimes I get some through sponsorship, through dealership that send me pliers to try but every time I kind of end up disappointed, to tell you the truth, even with the very expensive one. So then you have like, the mid-range, like for example, something like this is a Gerber one. Really nice plier, well finished, really nice in the hand, good grip and all. Even though this is the long nose to get extra reach, the problem is that nose is so thin at the front that once you try to get a big lure with a big hook like this out of the pike's mouth, especially if you're just at the end of your reach, what's happening is that you can't apply too much pressure on that tiny little grip. You see how thin the jaw gets at the top, so it's really hard. You get hook slippage, especially if, of course, it's going to be wet. Could be some pike slime in there, could be cold, so conditions are really, really crap to do some surgery aboard the boat. So you see, even they are trying to grip it. I am not even in the pike's mouth. It just slips, right? If you add the top like that, it doesn't hold. Now this is, I think they're about like 100, 120 euro, like really nice. They last forever. But I mean, after a while, just look at the precision engineering. This is them closed. And I never banged these pliers. I've hardly used them. They're about a year old. But like, this is them closed. So I don't call that closed to me, like, you know. So, but nothing has gone loose in it. So there you go. This is like 100 something worth of pliers. Now you have the super silly expensive one. I put them in the same category as the nippers. The nippers that cost 100, 200 euros. Absolutely stupid, but not stupid. Let's say there is a market for it, and that's why the companies are making them. There's people that like their bling, like I said, they like to look good on the water, so spending 100 euro on a pair of nail clippers, well, if it sells, fair play. But to me, I wouldn't be to go down that road. Now, pliers is the same. You can get super expensive one. Like I have, like for example, I have this Orvis one. Really nice pliers, well engineered. I mean, they'll never fail you. These ones are really beautiful pliers. They haven't moved over the years. They're still solid as hell. But I use them for my fly fishing. If I go with fish that have small mouths, you know, where I don't need a big reach. Another thing, the curve is nice on it. I kind of like that curve. It feels natural. But because there's no much grip on the handle, you feel that curve, it's making you slip forward every time you go. Another thing, I'm left-handed, so the holster is just only made for right-handed people. If I put it on my left-hand side and I grab it, it's on the wrong side. So this is like, thank God I didn't pay that, but this is like 300 euro worth of pliers. And yeah, you can't even get a left-handed side on the holster. They prize themselves of having the holster made in USA, handmade, but they could have made a few for the left-handed people. And like, yeah. All right, passing the super expensive one then. Yeah, not a viable option for me. Okay, so what do we have? Expensive one, not a viable option. Mid-budget one, 100 plus euro, which could be already like high budget one for most of you. I don't agree. So that brings us back to the cheap and cheerful ones, the DIY one. And actually, yeah, I think they're the best. But there is one type that I relish the most, and I always come back year after year. I try a new pair of pliers. Oh, these one look good. Let's order some, try it. And I always come back to the old Feldful. You're probably all familiar with this. But these guys are simple. They're strong. They're reliable. They have a really good grip. You can apply a lot of power with this type of grip like this. There's a really good multiplication going to the grip. Like, I mean, if you put the finger and you squeeze, yeah, you're going to know about it. The jaws, there's a nice deep groove in the jaws, as you can see. Able to get the hook inside these grooves. Nice and easy. And these ones will provide you really nice grip. Another thing too that I like with this type of plier is that usually when the hook is inside, you need to pop that hook. You need to pop it, pop that barb, especially if you don't fish barbless, you need to pop that thing. Now you have a position of the hand where you can put pressure and precision by popping that hook downwards like this. With a normal pair of pliers, you're basically like this. You're like holding a spoon or a fork, so you don't have that much pressure and precision as going down like this, like with the pistol grip like that one. Or the good thing as well is that it has very little room, so you can slide that way down to the hook without being in the middle of the gills or anything getting caught, and you can just get down to the hook and nip it and pop it out. So these ones, in my personal opinion, I think that's basically best price, quality, functionality. They're just the best there is for Pike. So if you have something better, something as pricey as those, because these are not expensive, let me know. I'm curious to know. But I like them so much that I actually am including them on the website. So these are for sale. So I actually went for the fancy model with the nice rubber grip, and you get a little hole for the lanyard. Usually that's another problem as well on the DIY ones. There's never a hole to put a lanyard. You have to drill it, you have to put some tape, and then so many of them finish at the bottom of the lake. So that's because they're made for DIY and just adapted to the fishing world. So it's a simple one manufacturers. They do them for woodies, for B&Q, whatever, and then they'll do it for any fishing companies, just change the logo on it. But I never understood why there's no more pliers with just a simple hole to put a lanyard, so you don't lose it every time. So these are on the website. They are at €15, which I think is fairly honest. They powder coated as well, so they won't rust as quickly, but still always keep them greased, and you have that nice rubber textured handle to get them hooks out. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and see you next time. Bye.